I've sung it before, just not at the right time. But it was look, more importantly than just singing the song was looking around the room at staff and support and players and seeing smiling faces and pride in what we saw today. And we've probably seen it the last couple of weeks. It's just we've been able to play footy the way we want to play footy going forward, and we finally got some reward for that. We hadn't seen that up to this point. We'd played some good games during the year and just not quite there. But tonight was really rewarding for everyone, for our supporters and members and supporters who have gone through a really tough year to stick by us, and we felt that as we walked off tonight. Everyone was proud of what they'd seen. So it was more about that than actually singing the song, to be honest. I was just dodging Powerade.
So you scored in 4 quarters, which is different for Adelaide this year. So why did it happen? Key points for you in that regard. Well,
we bought contest again this week. We had it there last week and we didn't finish and we didn't score. We're up against the best side in the competition in Geelong and we just weren't quite ready for them. I thought we learned a lot from last week. What it is to finish in front of goal. Polish your work off at the end. I thought tonight we were able to do that. Out of the middle with Rob, O'Brien, as you guys would know him, getting first hands, giving us first use. We had Brad come back in. Brad's an outstanding footballer and added to our midfield group that were in pretty good form the last few weeks. So, getting our hands on it and giving our forwards a chance one-on-one allows you to, those opportunities to score. And I thought, Shane McAdam showed what he's going to bring, hopefully for a number of years to come. Tyson Stengel, Elliot Himmelberg, Tex. We've got a really good mix at the moment of some young, exciting youth and some slightly older boys who are giving their all.
When did you know it was done today? Coach is always the last to know, as they say.
As in the win?
When did you know it was won?
I think it was about 37 seconds to go in the last. I was celebrating. No, look, I think up there, when you're sitting up there, the game can always turn really fast. So we're just looking at each play as it plays out, each scenario, just keeping an eye on. We knew they'd take us on in the last. We knew they'd try the corridor and really get busy. And so we planned for that at 3/4 time. And our guys, I was so proud they put 4 quarters together. They were able to hold that. And, Hawthorn, we knew they were going to come. They're a good side. So that makes you even more pleased at the end of the day.
Was it just getting that first use and seeing the ball first that gave you so much space to attack for a change?
Well, especially from centre bounce. If you can go forward and have even numbers forward of the ball, it makes it hard for defenders. We were able to come out of stoppage on a number of occasions, with some good handball and release and use the ball with some purpose. We haven't had that for majority of the year. We started really poorly this season in that area. We've done a hell of a lot of work to get that to where it needs to be. And in trying times, as far as training goes, to train that, we've experimented with a number of different drills. 4-on-4. I've spoken to you guys about it over and over. I think we found both the mental side of that as well as the physical and the training of it. So, again, it's a credit to our players who have been working through a really tough time to be able to dig deep and give us what we've had the last couple of weeks.
What did you say to Lockie Murphy after he kicked that goal from the boundary? I think Cameron Foley, it looked like you were having a bit, seemed to be having a bit of a laugh. So said something nice to him. What did you say after that goal?
At the end of the game? I didn't say anything straight after the goal, but I was kind of pleased it went through. He'd had a cider from out there, so we were actually talking. Most of our discussion upstairs was take some time off the clock, please. I thought he did that really well. I know it may not have been intentional, but to put it through, it does make you feel a little bit more at ease in the box. But the game's never over until the final siren goes.
What's it mean for you personally? You've spoken about what it was like in the rooms for others, but personally, it's been a tough year for you as well, but to actually get the W, your first as head coach.
Look, from my point of view, I hope what it does is just reaffirm with our players what it's going to take, give them some confidence. And I know I'm talking about our players, but that's what makes me feel good. You know, I know what we need to do to win games of footy. I feel like I've been in the game long enough to understand the game well, and you know, our players have been working so hard on a particular system and game plan, and we've been able to implement it now for 2 weeks. We didn't get a result, so it's hard as a coach to convince your players that that's what's going to get it done longer term. So today was just, you know, confirming that for our players. I could see it in their face, and even chatting to them for 5 minutes before coming in here, they know that we're on the right track. You know, so as a coach, it's pleasing to get that feeling back from your players, and that, I guess, that reassurance from them that, hey, we're going in the right direction.
So how do you keep your assurance that you're going down the right path then? I mean, it's lost. At what point do you have to face up to whether you're getting it in the right way as well?
Yeah, I mean, it's human to question yourself. I've questioned myself a number of times through, but I've stuck strong, and when I say we've stuck strong as a football department right across the board. We've stuck strong in what we believe in. It's taken us time. You know, a number of different players have come through. We've had, you know, close to 10, 11, 12 players who haven't played for the club before have played this year. It's going to take time for us to connect that, and longer than a normal season, because of, you know, where we're at in society and some protocols around what we can and can't do. So, you know, when those doubts creep in here and there, I've made sure we've all stuck strong, and we've looked at it from a medium to longer term. You know, let's not worry about the short. We've had so many wins this year off the field that I've been confident right the way through that we're getting it right, and we're going to have some further, you know, steps backwards, or whatever we wanted to call them, over the season, where we took a few steps forward and then dropped right off again. We're going to see that. That's a young side, and it'll be because we go away from what we know we need to do to win games.
What are those wins off the field?
Well, even looking around the change rooms tonight to see our players, their number one priority was to look after everyone else in the room. You know, over to staff, we got young kids who help out, you know, doing our media. You know, it was welcoming people into the circle. You know, stuff that's not about football, but it makes you a better person. We see it everywhere. We see it. I mean, to be in a position of 0-13 like we were, and if you were inside the four walls, which no one's allowed, unfortunately, it's a bubble, but you'd be surprised at how much ground we've made with a group, and you know, we're making some extremely confident young men who are heading the right directions as far as, you know, the priorities in their lives.
Is that the silver lining of this year, that it's locked you down, so you do have to then find each other out?
Oh, look, ultimately, my job is to make these guys better young men, and everyone in our club. That's ultimately what we're after. And you know, you hear some people talk about you actually don't know how well your job's been done until another 10 or 15 years, when they've retired and they're out in society and they're actually, you know, good young men. So that's my goal. Silver lining, yeah, I'm seeing that slowly come through, and we've got some amazing people within our footy club. So I hope that translates into wins, because, you know, that's what you get when you're doing things right and you're prioritising others. Results will come.
But just on the lockdown, there's nowhere to run once you're in a bubble. So has that made it easier for you, that they have to face up to each other and keep testing each other and checking each other out? Yep. There is nowhere else to go.
Well, possibly, yeah. The fact that, you know, we're not allowed out in society, and we can't go off on a tangent and spend time away, maybe that's been a positive. We're always looking for those little positives that, yeah. I mean, I can't say it hasn't. There's been so many challenges, but there's probably been some stuff that's helped us.
Just on Tyson Steindl, I mean, we kind of spoke about before. He's the guy that's had some challenges to overcome this year. The club's backed him in, given him a 2-year deal. When he kind of plays like he did in the first half, at least, or how dangerous he looks. How important are the club's forward line is he going forward? Because it seems like he and Shane can provide that X factor that probably lacked at times this year in the forward line.
Yeah, well, I think you really, I mean, you answered it really. The X factor that those two bring, and that they've still got so much more growth to come. You know, Tyson, you'll see Tyson perform really well in games where he's exciting, and it's often early in games. So, you know, I know he's got so much more that he's going to bring to the game. So that's really exciting for us as a footy club and for him. He'll continue to develop. And then Shane, you know, Shane's so raw. But we've seen Shane put his head down and go to work this year like no other. And he's now getting rewarded for that. I think he's performed now for a good 3 or 4 weeks. And he's a really important part of our future.
Matthew, just on the big picture, you had to deal with free agency for the first time as a coach now. What do you think of it as a concept in this game?
Oh, look, it depends. You look at it from a player's point of view. It wasn't around when I played. I think it gives freedom. I would like to think in time that, you know, as you work with young men, you have a lot longer to spend with them and you're developing them both on and off the field, that free agency is quite a positive thing to look at from a footy club point of view. You know, I've been in the seat for 6 months. I'd like to think that in 2 or 3 years, you know, the relationships are so strong that players will be happy to stay for, you know, a little bit less security and money. But ultimately, I think, you know, players have the right to ensure they get looked after and do the right thing, because a career goes for 10 years. And it is important that you make sure you make the most of that as a player. But that's the challenge, I think, for all football clubs and for all, you know, coaches, is to build relationships so strong that, you know, you're able to keep those players.
So you don't see it as a threat? We saw it in 2012 where we thought it was going to revolutionise the game and turn it upside down, and small clubs would be picked off by big clubs.
I think there's always that challenge, but then that comes back to, you know, about developing the right football department and doing whatever you can to keep the players that you want to keep. I mean, there's a lot more involved in it. It's not as clear cut as what everyone believes as far as, you know, who you're keeping and who you're not. It's also the same from a playing point of view. You know, players sometimes leave when they don't want to, and sometimes they leave when they do. So we've just got to continue to work with our players to build relationships.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate your time.
That was an absolute pleasure. Thank you.